bargain boosters. We're back again, part 2. So we're going to get the turbo on, we're going to get the oil supply, the oil drain, we're going to do the sump modification, we're going to get the coolant lines on. Let's see how far we get through this lot. I'm Matt, I'm back in the workshop. Let's do some drilling and grinding and cutting. Cue. We'll get the oil drained out of this.
Do it now, lick it good, suck this pussy just like you should.
So our next job in this is to take the sump off, and we need to undo all of those bolts on the sump, and then we can get the sump on the floor. And I made a little mark here, and that is where we're going to fit the oil drain. So that gets our sump off. We'll give it a bit of a clean out and then we can have a drill. We've got the sump off now, giving it a bit of a clean out so it's not an oily, disgusting thing. Cleaned all of the gasket face up in preparation for refitting. Now what we need to do is drill our hole here. X marks the spot, but there's a bit of webbing in here for the oil, for the splash pan. So avoiding that and getting us a good fit on there is the aim of the game. So basically that is going to end up on the inside of there somewhere, but we want to avoid this bit of plate here. We might have to do a bit of trimming and then re-weld the spot weld back on. We might just be able to avoid that, but we're going to have to trim it on the inside a bit to be able to fit it in. So or do we just cut it and do away with the weld? Well, let's find out. We'll have a little play. As we can see there, we need to get around that little bit of webbing, so we need a little naughty cut in there somehow. Right then, let's have a little trial fit. That'll fit in there. So we'll have a little trial fit on the car now and see if that is in a sensible position. So there's a bit of a conundrum here because you've got the drive shaft here. So I'm tempted to cut this back a little bit and then we'll slip the pipe on a bit further that way and then we can get a bit of a loop on. I might try and warm this up and see if I can increase the angle of the bend a little bit. Well, I just knocked the camera off accidentally before I welded, but I thought if I ever want to take this drain pipe off, it'd be nice, say it leaks on the outside, the seal leaks. If this nut was captive to the sump itself, then we can unwind it, sort of seal up and tighten it up. So I've just done a little bit of that. Just a few spot welds around there. It's just like, you ready? You get me? So I've just put a couple of spot welds on the top of that. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to seal up, because the doughty seal on the outside is what's going to cause the seal. Down with spot welds just to stop it from ever turning. And now we can screw it in and put our doughty on it and send it. Send it! For the oil drain, I think I want something that's more like this angle so we can avoid the prop shaft. So I've never tried to weld something as fine as this before, but I think I'm going to try and do a little mitre and then weld them up, and we'll see how it goes, eh? Right, so what we need here is two Lambda bosses, one for the wide band and one for the narrow band. So I'm going to put the narrow band closer because that needs to be hotter, but I'm going to put the wide band here because it's supposed to be 24 inches away from the turbo outlet. So I'll put one boss about here and it's going to clear everything. And then we'll go for another one here. And then they'll be on the top of the exhaust, so they'll be nice and easy to take out and modify. There we go. So I'll drill 2 holes and get them welded in. The next mission that we need to accomplish is the oil feed supply line. We've got a drain, now we need a feed. This has got to come off the oil pressure switch, which is on the back of the engine. So we need to get this T in where the oil pressure switch is. Some PTFE tape, I reckon, and see what happens. Right, boosters. There is the oil pressure switch. So we need to unplug it, unscrew it, get that T-piece in, get that sensor into the T-piece, that piece goes into the T-piece, and then our takeoff comes off there. So we can lock that in there quite easy. Do I use PTFE tape? What do you think? Yeah, go on. Not so sure. PTFE. Yeah, we'll do it. Probably the internet is screaming at me right now going, Matt, you can't use PTFE with oil because it'll dissolve. Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? Right, so we've got a little bit on there. No, Matt, what are you doing? No, we can't PTFE it. Well, we've got to live and learn. So we can go screw that into the car, and then we can drop that in afterwards. Right then. Yeah, so that screws in there. And now we have to get something on it to tighten it up. So that gets us a T in, plugged in, and that's our oil supply done. Well, now we just need to put the pipe on and get the pipe routed to the turbo. But I'm thinking of coming underneath, and I can cable tie it to there and up and over, then feed it through the gap up there. So we've got a little cable tie going in there now. Go on. Yeah. So there's not really any rattle or shake or trafe, because this is going to go on the track. It's going to get hammered, so we can't have things flapping in the breeze. That gets us some oil up to the turbo. Oh, we had the sump off, so there's no oil in it. So let's get some dino juice in it. That's close. Now we've got our oil feed and supply sorted. Not done the coolant lines yet, but I thought we would just test and make sure we're getting some oil. So we're going to disconnect that pipe. We're going to pull the EFI fuses out of here. Pull them out. That one. 25. Yeah, these ones here. Ignition, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 and 4. So that one and that one. I can't see that running at that. Right, that means we won't lose that. I'll just screw that back in again. So what we're looking for is oil spewing out of there, but we don't want to spew it everywhere. So how about use a bag. Oh, we've got some oil, but we're running out of battery. So I'm just going to put the jump pack on. Oh, we've definitely got oil. First start. Yeah, well, the cap blew off wherever it went. Oh, it's here. Oh, we've got a bit of heat. So we can now go and see if our oil supply is leaking. Is there going to be a big pool of oil on the floor? Look good. Do we have any leakage? It doesn't look like it. Looks to be pretty dry to me. So far so good. So now we need to get on with some coolant lines. On the TTE turbo instructions, the proper Toyota ones, yeah, when we look at the coolant hose configuration, and this is what everybody seems to do from what I Google around, is they do this here. So they take off this elbow R, which comes out the cylinder head, and then that way goes to your heater matrix, and that way goes to the header tank. Take that off, cut it, and then like that, spin that around for the turbo, and then your return gets plumbed on there. Now that doesn't make sense to me because that is for the heater matrix. So now you're forcing all of the heater matrix water through the turbo, which has got a small orifice in it. So it's probably going to make the heater matrix not work as well. And secondly, if you put the heaters on cold, water flow stops going through there. So that doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. But what I have been looking at instead is, on the throttle body, there's this coolant loop through the throttle body. And the pipes just so happen to be the same size as my turbo coolant banjo fittings. So we can see them just there. So all I was thinking is we just need to loop through the turbo through those. So we need to, and preferably one should come up from the turbo, and that means it won't end up as an airlock. If we drop 2 pipes down and that was the highest bit, we could end up with an airlock in there. So by 1 pipe coming upwards and 1 pipe going downwards, that should reduce our chances of airlocking the coolant chamber in there. But doing it the TTE way doesn't make a huge amount of sense. I can't understand why they've teed into this pipe here, because it's just going to, it'll only work when the heater matrix is on positive. Maybe I'm overlooking something with this return pipe here. I don't really know, but I'm going to go through those ones there instead. Roughly, all I'm doing is got this hose, put a hose clip on. See if that'll go in there. So I've just sucked on it and put a hose clamp on. Now we know that that is a fully purged out coolant system. So I'll go and do the awkward one in there, which won't be easy to camera because I've got to put it on the one that goes in the end of the head. And then that's the coolant loop done. We've got a turbo fitted on a manifold, gaskets, bolts all done. We've got a complete exhaust with Lambda sensors fitted. We've got an oil pressure line, an oil drain line. We've got coolant in. We've got coolant back out again. The next installment is going to be boost hosing. So the charge cooler, some brackets for the charge cooler, the pipe, the MAF, and I'm going to do a blow through MAF. So the MAF is going to be after the turbo. Controversial? I don't know. Most people put them on before the turbo, but people do put them on the pressure side. But the wiring's already here for a MAF, and I've got a nice tube that's just going to fit here, so we're going to give that a whirl. We need to run some pipes to the front of the car for the charge cooler that's going to go in at the front. But anyway, I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. If you want to get notifications on the next video, then I'd love a bit of a like and subscribe wherever the bell is. I don't know. Yeah, and I really appreciate you watching my videos. And get boosted. You can do it too. It's not expensive, and we're going to see how well it goes. And this is a 160,000 mile engine, so we'll be soft on the old girl. Anyway, goodbye for now.